I feel like every time I get online, I have that 1980s song by Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me, constantly looping in my mind. The chorus goes, I always feel like somebody's watching me and I got no privacy. Whoa. I wonder, when you go online, do you feel like you have privacy? Do you know who's watching you? I'm Janae Larson, and for the past 13 years, I've worked for the Senior Medicare Patrol. This is a national organization that helps the community identify and report fraud, waste, abuse, and errors in the healthcare systems. Now, even though I feel very rewarded by helping people report fraud, it's also really opened my eyes to just how much scam and fraud there is out there, how little privacy we actually have online, and how we don't all understand our vulnerabilities. That's why I believe in order to protect your privacy online, you should limit the amount of personal information you share. Today, I'd like to talk with you about what online privacy is, who is at risk for fraud and scams online, and also how you can prevent this by limiting the use of personal information online. Before we get into who's a target and how to prevent fraud and identity, let's first define what online privacy is. Symantec, the makers of the Norton antivirus software, identify online privacy as two things: what you do online and who you are. What you do online is the websites you visit, the articles you read, the apps that you download, and the things you shop for and buy. Every time you shop online, visit a website, or buy something, download an app, chances are that company is collecting data on you. And data brokers take that data, analyze it, or sell it so that other companies can do things like targeted advertising, ad campaigns, credit risk assessments. Who you are online is your personally identifiable information: your name, your social security number, your address. Anytime you create an account online, the chances are you're providing some of that protected information. And the more you put that online, the greater you are at risk for identity theft and fraud. Now that I've talked about what online privacy is, let's look at who's at risk. The Better Business Bureau Institute for Marketplace Trust performed a survey and also had a paper written by Emma Fletcher and Rubens Pashana regarding cracking the invulnerability illusion. And this research identified that 1 out of 4 households will fall victim to scams or identity theft in the marketplace, which results in about a $50 billion loss to persons and families each year. The Better Business Bureau is a nonprofit organization that brings us, the consumer, together with businesses to create a trustworthy marketplace. What they also found is that persons felt that those were taken advantage of by scams and identity theft were old or vulnerable or unintelligent, alone. When the truth is, actually, 2015 Better Business Bureau scam tracker data said that ages 25 to 54 were more likely to report money lost to fraud and abuse, whereas any other age category was less. So we're all at risk. And the chances are that those that are middle-aged, younger, and even better educated are at the highest risk for fraud and identity theft online. Though the marketplace brings potential dangers, it's also the platform that we must consider as a place for resolution. So let's talk about how you can prevent and protect yourself online. I wish the easiest thing would be for me to say, don't go online. Just stop putting your personal information out there. But that's literally impossible. We shop more online. We even access healthcare services online by Skype, visiting with our doctors. So what I will do is tell you some things you do to prevent your identity theft. First of all, the Federal Trade Commission, which is the agency that is responsible for consumer protection for the federal government, recommends the use of strong passwords. Passwords should contain upper and lowercase letters, numbers, symbols. Don't use personalized things like names, dates of birth. Use different passwords for different accounts and change those passwords frequently, like every 60 to 90 days. Also use two-factor authentication, which means you're not only using strong passwords, but also getting a text or email code or using that fingerprint verification. You may already be doing these things, but I can't stress their importance enough. Also, limit the amount of data that you share on every app that you download, check privacy settings, and turn your camera off in the apps. The best thing that you can absolutely do, though, to practice prevention of identity theft, scams, and fraud is to be aware of current scams and trends. The Better Business Bureau data also found that persons who were more aware of ongoing scams and how scammers act were less likely to fall victim to identity theft and fraud. Because identity theft and fraud is so prevalent in our online world, that's why I believe to protect your privacy online, you really must limit your personal use of information. Remember to create strong passwords and use two-factor authentication when available. Also, stay aware of current scams and trends. Become familiar with federal, local agencies that report and track scams. A couple of my favorites include the Better Business Bureau organization website. They have a scam tracker. You can watch your page light up like a Christmas tree with all the fraud going on. Also, the Federal Trade Commission.gov website is a great resource to report fraud and identity theft and get some good tips on how to stay safe online. My mother always used to tell me, "My paranoia keeps me safe." I used to kind of laugh at this, but now I really understand what her message meant. If you have a gut feeling that something doesn't feel right, trust that instinct. Your spidey senses are telling you that something is wrong, and make sure you follow that. Always ask yourself when you go online, is putting my personal information, does it outweigh the risk? Thank you.